All right, we're looking at Chapter 10.4, Surface Area of Triangular Prisms. It starts on page 773. All right, we're looking at the real-world link, and it says that Raj and his dad are building a ramp to move his dirt bike onto a trailer, and it gives us a picture of the ramp in the center. It says, fill in the table by drawing the sides of the ramp and naming the shape of each face. So go ahead and fill in 1 through 5. You're drawing the face, and then you're also saying what shape it is. Pause the video now and fill those in. All right, so I had, for number 1, the front, I called this section right here the front, so I said it was the triangle. You could have changed that and said whatever, but I thought since the top was the rectangle, the bottom was the rectangle, and we're going to go ahead and say that this is the side. I know it's kind of weird since it's a triangle, but there you go. So that's what I had. All right, so it says surface area of a triangular prism. In words, the surface area of a triangular prism is the sum of the areas of the 2 triangular bases and the 3 rectangular faces. And so remember that when we're talking about a triangular prism, that we have the 2 bases, which are each triangles, and that means that the other 3 sides would be rectangles. Now, the rectangles can sometimes be equal, but most times they're not. Most times we're going to have 3 different sized rectangles like we did in that last example. A triangular prism is a prism that has triangular bases. When the bases are equilateral triangles, the area of the 3 rectangular faces are equal. Equilateral means that each of these sides are the same. So if let's say that this was like 5, then if this side is 5, this side is 5, because if I were to glue them back together and fold them like we did with our rectangular prisms when we made those, if we glued these together, these each would be the same size. So this is also 5. If this is 5, then this is 5. And it just continues from that point on. Okay, so they all end up being 5. And so they're all equal, and then that means that these are all equal sides as well. All right, and so that's very rare. That's with equilateral triangles. You can use a net to find the surface area of a triangular prism. All right, here's our net. This is our 3D shape, and here's our net. All right, beautiful drawing, right? All right, so example number 1 said to find the surface area of a triangular prism. To find the surface area of a triangular prism, find the area of each face and then add. So you need to remember that a triangle has 5 sides. We've got the front and the back, and then which are the triangles, and then we have the 3 rectangles that go to each side of the triangle. So altogether we're talking about 5 sides. So when we're finding the surface area, we're finding the area of each of those 5 sides and then adding them all together. Now the triangles are always the same, so you can find the area of one triangle and then just multiply that by 2 or add that twice to be able to get the area of each added together. As far as the rectangles go, remember that not all rectangles are the same. You have to look at the dimensions. So for this one, we'd have 1 by 2, because if this side is 2, this side is 2, this side is 2, this side is 2. So it's going to be 1 by 2. This is also 1 by 2. This is also 1 by 2. So in this case, all 3 of our rectangles actually have the same area. And then we find those areas and we add them all together. And we would end up, in this case, getting 6.9 centimeters squared. All right, for example A, you're going to find the surface area of the triangular prism that's in the picture here. Again, I need you to, just look back at this. You can separate it into parts, find, make the net, and then find the area of each of the pieces of the net. So go ahead and do that for A, and when you come back, I'll have the answer for you. Pause the video now. All right, so here's the answer that I have for A. So I did the diagram doing the net, and it's important for you to know the lengths here. this is going to be 7, so these are all 7, okay? Because this, and this would all be 7. Then I'm saying that this is 6, so I know that these parts are 6 right here. So this part's 6, this part's 6, this part's 6. Then when I'm doing my triangle, I know that the base of my triangle is 6 and that the height is going to be this 5.2 right here because it comes to the 90-degree angle, okay, with the 6. So that's our base and our height for our triangle. And so I just did each of those. When I did my final adding, I just went ahead and decided, well, I know that the two, and I filled in my chart. This is what I love to do the most. This is my favorite part right here, is where you can put the numbers into the diagram so that you see them all right there. That's my favorite part of doing the nets. And when you can color code them, even better. So when I add up all the 42s and I add up the 15.6 and 15.6, I end up with 157.2 centimeters squared. So I hope that made sense. So a surface area of other triangular prisms. You can also find the surface area of any triangular prism by adding all the areas of all the sides of the prism using the orthogonal drawing. All right, so here's where we do the drawing. Now this is also where we could be using the table or chart, whatever you want to call it, where you could separate each of the shapes. I'm sorry. And say, okay, here's my triangle, and, you know, do the formula. Area equals 1/2 base times height. And then hopefully you'd know that that's times 2, because that's what we have going on here. So we would put times 2, and whatever you find there you could times 2. Then the next part you would say, okay, here's my next shape, and that area is going to be base times height, and then put in, you know, your 15 times 20, and then do the next rectangle and the next rectangle, and each one same thing, and then we take all of it and add it together. And remember that you need 5 sides. That's why it's important that you remember to do the times 2 for the triangle. If you have a hard time remembering to do times 2, then physically draw another triangle. Make 2 triangles on your table, and that'll solve that for you right away. So if that is your problem, please make sure that you're doing that. So we'll see as we go, but just keep that in mind. All right, so we've got 920 square meters in this case. Ooh, hold on a second. Don't look at that. All right, go ahead. Hold on just a second. Okay, now we're back. All right, so you're going to do B and C on your own. Pause the video. I'm going to do B first and C separate. So if you want to do B first and then wait to do C separate, let's do B together, and then I'll show you the answer, and then we'll do C together. So, but when I say together, I mean you do it, then I'll show you the answer, and we can look over it together. All right, so go ahead and pause your video now, and I want you to solve for B. All right, so the surface area for this one is going to be 166.42 meters squared. And I color-coded it, so I hope you can kind of see the idea here. It's important, again, that you understand the dimensions of each rectangle and each triangle, and that you're using the right numbers. Because it's easy to use the ones that are accessible, but you have to use the ones that are right. This is our right angle, so we're using 4, and then this right here is 5.7. So that's what I used for my triangle. If you weren't using the right dimensions, then you're not getting it right. It might get to a point where you guys might just want to go through and label everything. Label all the sides, and then you can decide which ones you want to use. Okay, go ahead and pause, and I want you to do C, and when you come back, I'll show you the answers, or you'll have just seen them. All right, so here are the answers for C. It's 59.6 feet squared, and as you can see, I color-coded and did my work here, where I did the orthogonal diagram to show each of the different sizes. And remember that we're doing 2 of the triangle bases. That's why I have 2 of the 5s here, because that's my triangle. Okay, now it says that a bakery boxes pastries in a triangular prism box as shown, which seems kind of bizarre to me, but okay. Find the amount of cardboard used to make a pastry box. It says sketch and label the bases and faces of the triangular prism, then add the areas of the polygon. So they've made, they've taken this 3D shape and they've made it into our net here. Then they took and they wanted to find the surface area, so they have everything labeled, and they saw that these two sides were the same, so they found the area of that and they multiplied times 2. Both of the triangles are always the same, so they took the area of that and multiplied it by 2. And then we have the area of this middle piece right here, and it's just one of those. And when we took all of those numbers and added them together, we end up with 116 square inches of cardboard is needed to make this box. So I hope that was helpful. Making a net is great. Making a net for a triangular prism is sometimes a little difficult, and it's really important that you understand how to label each of your parts, because you can't, you got to make sure that you're doing each part the right. Like over here, we've got these skinny things. You had to know that 12.5 by 1 was the dimensions for these side bars here. So again, like I was saying, it's really important that if you're making that net that you understand the dimensions. If you're doing just the pieces where you want to, draw, oh, here's my rectangle there, here's my rectangle here, here's my rectangle here, here's my triangle and my triangle, then find the area of each one and add them together. We've seen that that works as well. So it's really going to be up to you which method you'd like to use. If it specifies that it wants you to use a net, then you need to use the net. If it says that they want you to use the orthogonal diagram, then you need to make the orthogonal diagram. Oops. Okay. All right, so if you flip to the extra practice pages, which are just, 2 pages down from where we're at right now, I did number 16 and 18 for you. So if you'd like to see the answers to that, go ahead and solve them on your own if you're able to. These are just extra examples. You're not required to do them. They're just extra help. So go ahead and do 16 and 18, and I'll show you the answers for each. Okay, so here's the answer for number 16. It's 540 feet squared. Again, I color-coded my, my drawings and my pieces, and then I added all 5 parts back together. I'm going to show you the answer to number 18 next, so if you haven't started that yet, you need to pause the video again and do number 18, but here comes number 18. 399.2 meters squared. Of course, they had to throw in all these decimals for us to play with, but here you go. It's just a lot of extra math, but I wouldn't be surprised at home if you wanted to just try with a calculator and just, make sure that you understand the concept of the surface area of triangular prisms. The math, knowing how to multiply with decimals, that's just something you should be practicing, so it's not a bad idea to keep going with this without using calculators, because in class and on the test, there's no calculators. All right, now I'd like for us to look at number 20. It says to find the surface area of each triangular prism using the base triangles shown, and then show your work on a separate piece of paper. Well, of course, you need to show your work on a separate piece of paper because it takes so much paper to do these. All right, so number 20, they've given us the base, and they've given us 5 foot by 12 foot by 13 foot. And so, to be honest, what I would do to figure this out is draw it out. So I'm going to take this triangle, and I know how to, let's see, sorry, I'm going to do this. Here we go. This, connect. So I'm doing my 2 triangles, and then I'm connecting the sides, and now I'm going to label what I know. So they told me that the height of the prism is going to be 15 feet. So this is 15, this is 15, this is 15. Okay? Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the sides. They said that this is 13 and this is 13. Okay? Oops, I'm not even going to label the second 13. I'm just going to use the colors. Next, I've got my 5. So this is going to be my 5. And then last but not least, we've got these 2 pieces, and those are 12. So we need to, the key here was that I need to know that where the rectangles were to join my triangles together, that was going to be 15, a height of 15. That was the important thing to notice. All right, so I need to find the surface area. So going by using the orthogonal method, I'm going to do my pieces. So my triangles, I'm going to do my base times my height. So that's area equals 1/2 base times height. 1/2 of 12 times 5. It's going to be 6 times 5, which is 30 feet squared. And then, and I know that there's 2 of those. We'll come back to that. Then for my small rectangle, I've got 15 by 5. Because if I'm looking at these dimensions right here, I've got my 5 and my 15. All right, and then that's going to be area equals base times height, which is 5 times 15, which is 75 feet squared. Then we're going to do the bottom rectangle, which is going to be 12 by 15. So area equals base times height, 12 times 15. And then let's do the top rectangle, which is 15 by 13. So area equals base times height, 13 times 15, and that's 195 feet squared. Now to find the surface area of the entire picture, I'm going to do 75 plus 75 plus 30. Oh, sorry. 30 plus 30, because my triangle is 30. So let me write this out. 30 plus 30, because that's my bases. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting my 0 in there. And then 75 plus 195 plus 180. And so when we add all those together, that's going to give us our surface area. And we get our surface area of 510 feet squared. So that was a lot involved, but the key here being that you understand that if I were to draw it, which I recommend that you do, for me it helps quite a bit, that the height connecting the 2 triangles will be the height of the prism, which is 15. Okay. All right, guys, that ends my video for 10.4, surface area of triangular prisms. I hope that you understood everything, and if you need any questions filled in, any gaps filled in, please let me know. Thanks, guys. See you in school.